Welcome to the Sportswire Spotlight podcast. I'm Will Kaderli.
Dylan Garner here, joining you.
And the reason we're bringing this show to you, it's an opportunity for those who've seen Sportswire to delve a little bit deeper into what some of the student athletes, coaches do both on and off the field. So Sportswire Spotlight, we hope to do several times and have a chance to get in depth. And man, talking about in depth, talk about highlights. I mean,
Exactly.
This week was crazy when it comes to football. Highland Springs narrowly avoiding a loss to Manchester, got a big win at the last minute. Hermitage gets their first win of the season. And Henrico played really well there defensively to stay in it. Obviously, so other sports, field hockey, volleyball, you can see that on Sportswire. What you can't see here, though, Dylan, is being able to talk to guests like we have today.
It's really getting to know the people behind these highlights that you see across Henrico County Public Schools, right? Getting to know the coaches, getting to know the administrators and the student athletes in particular, getting to know what motivates them, how they got to where they are, and just digging into everything that makes them tick.
And earlier we had a chance to talk to one student athlete who's really making a name for herself. She's already been interviewed and been on TV for Channel 8 and Channel 12, NBC. Superstar, JV football captain, straight A student, Malini Dutta, and head coach of the varsity program, Joe Mullinax.
Yeah. We had a great conversation about her career, Joe's perspective on what she's been able to do, and just brilliant being able to hear about, her journey and where she plans on taking it, really.
Yeah, that really struck me as well. And we're here with Malini Dutta, who is the captain of the JV football team, one of the captains, and head coach of the varsity program, who oversees all of JV as well, Coach Joe Mullinax. Guys, I appreciate you being part of the first podcast today.
I'm honored. I don't know about you, Malini, but I'm thrilled that we are in this place to be breaking ground with you guys. Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Let's get right to it. And the first question everybody wants to know, Malini, football player, you're not going to be the first female football player. This is 2023. You're not going to be the last. But joining a program and wanting to be on that offensive line, playing defensive end, playing fullback, playing physical positions, that is something that raises people's eyebrows. What made you decide to do that?
I mean, I've looked at my other teammates, and I feel like if it's nothing that I can't do if they can, and I can do it better than some of them too.
This isn't your first year either. This is your sophomore year. People didn't catch, Channel 12 and News 8. They did not come at you as a sophomore. What was it like coming in, playing football as a sophomore, that first day when you walk in?
I mean, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I never expected to really do it in the first place. So it's just a cool thing.
And, I think we had talked previously, like, you grew up playing soccer and some other things, right? But last year was your first time trying football, really, jumping in on the JV team. Can you kind of describe your history with athletics and maybe your history with football, right? It seems like you're at least a fan of the sport. What drove you to that decision in the first place when you were coming in as a freshman?
I mean, I played soccer all my life. I grew up with my teammates. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But, as I grew older, I was, a lot more physical than my teammates. I got a lot of fouls when I played soccer. And I just felt like, football might have been, the best option for me. My dad always joked around saying I should play football, and I was like, no. But, I stopped playing soccer, and so freshman year, I was just like, I want to do something, and I just thought, why not football? Mm-hmm. Give it a try.
And so is it the physicality of football that really appeals to you? I mean, I feel like it has to if you're playing on the line as often as you are, but is that kind of the thing that football gives you that maybe some other sports didn't offer?
Yeah, I want to push people.
Yeah, you didn't want to be a soccer player. And this is what gets me. A lot of kids that I run into today, they want to be part of a program that goes to state championship games, makes the playoffs consistently. Soccer, you could have been a soccer player for deep run and been playing for state titles year after year after year, right? You decided to, as Joe, you would say, join the arena and be
Choose the arena.
Choose the arena.
Yes, choose
Got
the
it right.
arena.
Choose the arena. You chose the arena. Well, you joined it too. You chose the arena and decided to be part of a program. Until this year, you guys hadn't won in 5 years. So winning didn't matter to you, I'm assuming. But what was it that made you say, hey, I'm going to lose some games here maybe, but this is good for me?
I mean, when I was thinking about it, our JV team was obviously struggling, and I thought, I can make an impact on this team. Like, I could help this team get better.
And Coach Mullinax, what was your first impression when she decided to join the program? She was in tryouts, she was in practices. As someone that kind of is overseeing this entire operation, what was your perspective on what she was doing and how she kind of assimilated herself into the system?
Well, like you said, the idea that we have to look over the entire program, right? We have a varsity team, we have a JV team. From a JV perspective and from just a logistical perspective, how are we going to provide her with the opportunity to be treated as an equal? Yeah. Because she is a member of our program just like anybody else is. And I've said this other places, the fact that they're here in year 2 of her playing football is kind of funny to me because she was just one of our players and we always treated her that way. Obviously there's things logistically, her getting ready for practice. When practice is over, there's things that we do to help her be as comfortable as possible. I always would have conversations with her. How do you want to do this? What is best for you? Because she deserves to be a part of the program just like anybody else. If she's willing to do the things, as he said, if she's willing to choose the arena and help us build this program, I'm not going to shoo people away that want to be a part of a program that is not having success. Dating back to 2019, the 10-0 year with Bo Kite and Coach Hornick and all the success that class had, the JV was 0-10. So this particular part of the program has not seen success in a long time. And in order to be a fully healthy football program, you need to have successful JV and varsity teams.
Absolutely. And, had 1 in 5 years. This year's different, though.
Sure.
You're two wins, 2-1. First loss was last night, but 2-1 on the year. So that's got to be a sign of good things to come, not just for the JV team, right, Malini, but also, Joe, for your whole program and your varsity program. My question is, when it comes to Malini, she comes in freshman year, and
right,
you see development as a coach. You understand it. When she came in as a freshman, first day, to right now as a team captain on the JV team, what's been the biggest difference?
It's fully all-encompassing. She physically has changed her body, and she would send me pictures of what she would eat for dinner, right? Like the chicken, the rice. She would talk to Coach Dulich, our strength and conditioning coach, and work through nutrition with our trainer, Miss Elena. Our new head JV coach, Coach Crawford. When he suggested having JV captains this year, the first name that came out of all of our mouths was Malini, because she applied to be a captain in our program. She was the only sophomore, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but she was the only sophomore that put herself through the process of going through readings and meetings with me. And when we have our captains, they don't just get elected by our players. They have to put themselves out there as leaders. And she made the choice to do that on her own. So whether it's helping clean up after practice when she wasn't asked to, whether it's volunteering to stay after and help at a varsity game when our managers aren't there, if we don't have managers, she's willing to be a part of helping us build it. She looks for opportunities, not just for bettering herself, but for bettering those around her. And she is very much a servant leader in that way. And that is what I try to model my form of leadership after. I'm not perfect, nobody is, but I think that's the best form of leadership.
Absolutely.
Leading from the back and helping people along, and she's really strong with that.
When you talk about leadership, Malini, I want to ask you this. It's hard to gain respect for being a leader, even a little bit more strange, even though it's 2023,
sure,
being a girl playing a physical position at football. You are literally battling for those spots, whether it be guard, defensive end, fullback, against other teammates. How long did it take to earn your teammates' respect? Were they right out of the gate like, she's captain, she deserves it? Or did it take some time?
I mean, I've definitely improved a lot since freshman year. I wasn't the best freshman year, I'd say, but throughout the whole off season, I've been working hard. They've all seen that. Boys tend to get mad at each other a lot, but I've always, picked them up, helped them, and I think that's gained a lot of their respects.
And can you describe what it was like to come in this year as a captain? I mean, not only are you part of this thing that you wanted to be a part of, right? You wanted to contribute, but you had enough respect from the coaches and the people around you to say, we want you to lead this team. Can you kind of describe what that's like, having that role this year?
I mean, captain or not, I be doing the same thing. I'd be helping my teammates in whichever way I can. It doesn't matter, like, the labeling for me,
Right.
as long as I can help my team get better.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Absolutely. When you're in the game moment, though, that first game that you play, what are some of the players? Because we know social media is dumb. Except for us, we're not. Social
We're
media
not
can be
dumb.
dumb. But when you're lining up on Wednesday nights, especially your first game, what are opposing players saying to you that you can actually say on camera? That you can actually say,
Right.
like, are they talking smack to you? Are you giving it back to them? Are you a smack talker, or do you just let your work, show for itself?
I mean, I feel like I know everyone else on the other team because they've been texting me before the games, or they find my social media after the game. Like last night, I got like 7 people from the team we played followed me right after our game, and I was like, okay. But it doesn't matter. I'll just play however hard I can. Do my best, no matter what they'll say.
How did it feel, though, when you beat, one of their top young players off, let's say off the edge as a defensive end, whether you got in the backfield, stopped a running back, sacked a quarterback, opened it up for one of your other playmakers on the defensive end to make a play, was the other team like, whoa, Malini can play?
I actually don't know.
That's a
good
coach.
question. Well, as a coach, again, you see the body transformation, the work that she put in the weight room, all the things that she did. She came into this year with a goal to not just play and be part of it, but to be a competitor. And, she made a couple tackles for loss in our first JV game, the first win in 5 years against Mechanicsville. And one of the fun things about Malini is, again, she's girl, boy, whatever, she's a football player. Last night, she fires off the ball well, gets in the backfield, and she probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, gets into the backfield on one of our pinch calls, and she's high on the running back and misses a tackle, right? So she has things that she can improve upon as a football player, regardless of gender. She's physically capable of getting into the backfield. She's physically able to be explosive enough, use her hands well enough, all the different coaching points there are. Finishing it, right, and continuing to develop as a player, that is, again, regardless of gender, she is just a football player. And we as coaches enjoy working with players that have the mentality of her because they're so passionate about getting better.
And getting into the backfield. That's
Right.
Leverage is everything, right?
Yeah.
Easier said than done, right?
That's right. Low person wins in football.
We're at Deep Run High School. We're in your school. We're not on a football field. How do teammates, what do they say to you day after a game, or just on a weekly basis? And what are just your general population at school say when they're walking past and they know you're an intricate part and a captain of a football team?
I mean, I talk to a lot of people, so I just know a lot of people in general, and so a lot of them are my friends, and they're so supportive, and and the people who don't know me, I don't let that affect me at all.
And the reason I ask is because, like, I could see, especially here at Deep Run with a strong field hockey program and a strong soccer program, I could see girls walking up to you being mad and being like, how come you're not playing for us? Just, a little bit like, we could use you too, come on.
Sure, especially that level of physicality depending on the sport, right? So.
Absolutely.
And Coach, I wanted to ask you, it seems like the thing that appeals to you so much about how Malini works is just that mindset, right? Always improving, there for the team.
Right.
That it's like the ideal football mindset. When you have that many people, you need people that can lead by example, not just say they're going to do something, right? But do it. Can you describe, especially since JV is now having success, like what a culture changer that is to have someone that, is starting from the bottom, right? Coming on a team that had not won in a long time, has established themselves as a leader, and success is following. Like, what impact does that have on your program long term?
It's huge. You want people to buy in, and that is something that is a major focus of ours even now. Going into year 3, varsity being more competitive, not as of this recording with a win yet, but being more competitive. We had a heck of a football game against Atlee last week. The JV having some success. As you build it, it's a process, and you want to see people see the fruits of their labor, so to speak, because especially for a teenager, it's extremely difficult to believe in something that they haven't seen, right? Like, how do you buy into the concept of winning when you've never done it before? And the hard work that goes along with doing it. People like Malini showing that you can be rewarded with improvement, even more so than media attention, or the physical being a starter, like just being a better person. Like Malini has grown in our program, just like other people have grown in our program. And they've helped me grow as a person, as a coach. The collective struggle of growth and development, and the journey being the focus. Like I think before we started recording, I talked about we're building a program here at Deep Run where winning is a byproduct of the way we carry ourselves each and every day. It's not our end result. We're going to win eventually, consistently, because of the type of people that we're developing, the type of people in our program. And Malini is one of the earliest examples of complete and total buy-in in that process.
Malini, you talk about football, and it's cliche, football is a community, but truthfully it is. It's impacted your family to the point, though, where all of a sudden, Malini, you're kind of an icon to a couple of young daughters you might have.
Absolutely, and it's her birthday. Happy birthday to Caroline. Right. She's 8 today.
Oh, happy birthday, Caroline.
But she, Caroline and Abby, my 2 daughters, they love Malini. Like whenever they're around, they look for her. We had a varsity game recently that they were here, and they asked where Malini is, and Malini wasn't at the varsity game. She plays JV and that sort of thing. But when she is here, they run up to her. And like I said, I don't know that they're going to play football. I don't know that that's something they're passionate about. As a parent, you want them to find something they care about deeply and invest themselves in it. But for them to see, again, it's kind of sad to say in 2023, regardless of your gender, regardless of what your situation is, if you're willing to work, you can put yourself into situations and better yourself and fully invest and see fruits of that labor, like I said earlier. They have a wonderful role model in that to see she is putting herself out there. She's being confident. She is being strong, and she's being committed to what she sees herself doing and being. And that's a wonderful role model for my daughters. And I'm thrilled every time they get to see her.
Those are life lessons that'll apply if they're playing football, if they're playing softball, if they're playing basketball, if they're not doing any of those things.
Absolutely.
It's something that's transferable to anyone's life, and that's kind of, it's great to have models like that in a high school program.
100%.
I think a lot of places don't have that.
And Malini, the natural progression when you're a sophomore and you're on JV is junior, you play varsity. Is that where you see yourself next year?
Yeah.
And how about you, Coach? Do you see her as a big part of the varsity program?
My goal for Malini is continued improvement. She's improved each and every time she's come out. She's, again, physically, emotionally, mentally, she's invested in our program. I see no reason why she can't continue to grow and develop and be a contributor for Deep Run football the rest of her career.
And just because you play football, Malini, I do want to touch on this. We don't just talk to athletes because of what they can do on the field, but what they do off the field. You have a certain interest in sports medicine, and you've developed a program. Tell me about that.
So it's called Par for Play. It's a free sports injury prevention program. It enhances your football performance. I've worked with medical professionals because medicine is something I'm really passionate about. I want to be an orthopedic surgeon for an NFL team when I'm older. And so
you've already got that.
It's a good goal.
I wish my daughter already had those goals. Yeah, absolutely. Tell me more about it. So what's in it? Like if I look it up, Par for Play, what are some of the things you have in there?
So just advice on nutrition, things you should do before, during, and after the game to help you recover and get better at football off the field. Like when your program you're not in your program, like you're off the field, things you can do then to enhance your performance because, a lot of football players, they don't want to research that much. They're already tired from the games and stuff. So it's all just there in one place. There's a routine,
So like hydrating well, eating well, doing the right stuff, stretching, exercise, that kind of thing? Yeah,
there's specific routines like exercises and stretches to do.
Website for that, what is it?
Parforplay.com.
Parforplay.com. I think athletes should take a look at that because I've seen a lot of kids cramp.
Yes, cramping is an issue when it's super hot outside. That's true. Breaking news here on the initial podcast.
News. When it's hot, it's not fun.
And Malini, I had one more question just about your career. everything goes well for you. You know, you make that varsity jump next year, or, you know, as a junior or senior, right, eventually. Where do you see this going past then, right? Obviously graduating high school, but like, where do you see this kind of journey going for you? What kind of barriers do you want to break next, even after the ones you've already done?
I want other girls to be inspired, even if they're not playing football, just in general, that, you know, if there's something in their way, just work for it and you'll get there. And when I'm older, you know, I want to help, you know, other kids, people who are less fortunate, and I want to like start an organization. I want to help other people a lot.
That's awesome.
Did this come from your parents? What did they think about your journey so far?
I always played soccer, so they were just like, they thought that was what I was gonna do. But you know, they were very supportive when I said I wanted to play football. You know, I came home one day with the physical form, and I was like, "Can you fill this out?" And my mom was like, "For what?" And I was like, "I'm gonna join the football team."
So Dad was more about it than Mom, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah, it worked out.
Awesome, guys! I really appreciate you being part of the program. Continued success, Malini. Continued success for the football program, and good luck next week against your next opponent. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming out to Deep Run today.
No problem at all. That was a really awesome conversation with Malini and Coach Joe Mullinax. Like, getting to be able to hear their perspectives on this thing. She really seems like kind of a culture changer for that program, and I'm really excited to see what comes next for her, as much as she's already accomplished.
Absolutely. We really appreciate them being part of the Sportswire Spotlight, and hoping to have many more in the Sportswire Spotlight.
Exactly. In the spotlight.
Well. In the spotlight. In the spotlight with Will and Dill.
Yes.
Hey, a couple of things of note for everybody out there. Check your school websites for the athletic calendar. It is chock full of games, whether it's field hockey, volleyball, golf, even if you want to go catch them on the links. Football, especially with JV and varsity.
And don't just check the calendar, but make sure, you know, you got a good handle on the rules, the policies for each school. They differ a little bit, so just keep an eye on that. But, you know, it seems like there's a lot of great action going on around the county. We're going to keep up with this stuff on the podcast. You have the Sportswire Roundup that comes out every week.
Absolutely.
That is a great place to follow. It's Watch Sportswire on
At Watch
Twitter.
Sportswire.
And the Henrico Schools TV has all of
formerly known as Twitter.
Exactly, the X. All of the good stuff goes on to YouTube as well. And you can follow the county stuff as well, all of our social media pages, Henrico County Schools, you know, Instagram, Facebook. You know, we're sharing all that stuff there. So, I mean, this is a great debut episode, I think. Really exciting people, and I'm really excited to see who's next.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully you'll join us for that. Thanks for joining the Sportswire Spotlight podcast.